Today, people all over the world live under the threat of terrorism. Terrorists can strike without warning at any time, on airplanes, in office buildings, at nightclubs, and even at chemical facilities. You may not think of your facility as a target, but in fact, a strike on a facility that uses, stores, or manufactures chemicals could cause loss of life, physical damage, and economic disruption. These are all objectives of most terrorists. Further, they may attempt to steal chemicals to use them in a later attack at a different location. In this program, you'll learn about steps a company may take to help prevent terrorism. By following the examples of security measures described here, you're playing a vital role in helping to protect your company and community. Thank you for your cooperation and close attention.
Welcome to CFATS Confidential, the show that covers all the stories about the Chemical Facility Anti-Terrorism Standards, or CFATS. I'm your host, Chet Daniels. CFATS is an initiative of the United States Department of Homeland Security, or DHS, that is designed to enhance security for facilities that use, store, or manufacture certain chemicals. Let's go out to our own Julie Wilson for a report. Julie?
Hello, Chet. I'm at one of the many chemical facilities that's regulated by CFATS.
Julie, can you tell our viewers why CFATS is important? After all, aren't chemical facilities already subject to federal programs that regulate environmental protection, workplace safety, and hazardous materials transportation?
They are, but CFATS is a regulation designed to improve security. In other words, we're protecting facilities from intentional harm.
I see. And what does it mean to be a high-risk chemical facility?
Good question, Chet. Unless otherwise exempt, DHS reviews the chemical inventory of any facility that possesses so-called chemicals of interest, or COIs, at or above a specific quantity and concentration. There are more than 300 COIs, including several common and widely used chemicals. This means that many different types of sites, including those that are not traditionally thought of as chemical facilities, may be regulated by CFATS. For example, as you would imagine, chemical plants, oil refineries, and other industrial facilities that make, use, or store chemicals are regulated. But the list doesn't end there. Pharmaceutical companies, colleges, and other non-traditional chemical users may also be regulated. For facilities that possess COIs at or above a certain quantity and concentration, DHS goes through a multi-step process to determine if the facility represents a high level of risk. This process begins with online submission of information to DHS using an electronic form called a top screen. If after review of the top screen, DHS makes a preliminary determination that the facility is high risk, the facility must then complete a security vulnerability assessment. In many cases, DHS then requires the facility to complete a Site Security Plan, or SSP. These facilities must also ensure ongoing compliance with their SSP, which is broken down into various security categories called risk-based performance standards. These 18 standards cover everything from physical security and cybersecurity to background checks and record keeping.
And Julie, if I understand correctly, CFATS deals not only with the facility's security procedures, but also how it handles certain security information.
Yes, that's right. Some of the information is called Chemical Terrorism Vulnerability Information, or CVI. For example, a site security plan is CVI. In order to access CVI, individuals must take an online training course and must have a need to know the specific information. By law, anyone with access to CVI must take reasonable steps to safeguard it from unauthorized disclosure.
Thanks, Julie. Next up on CFATS Confidential, we look at examples of security practices that facilities may follow to maintain compliance. Let's go back out to Julie Wilson. Julie?
Thanks, Chet. I'm here with Eric Edwards, a Facilities Security Officer, or FSO. As the FSO, Eric is responsible for overall facility security. Eric, can you tell our viewers a little bit about the measures that are important to keep this facility secure?
Sure. It all starts with the perimeter. For example, we remind people not to obstruct the fence. We need to have clear observation to identify any suspicious objects or unauthorized movement. We call this a clear zone. We also don't want equipment left in the clear zone. Pallets, tools, or even vehicles can be useful climbing aids. Here we maintain a 10-foot clear zone on both sides of the fence and have no trespassing signs every 100 feet. We also forbid tailgaters or piggybackers. We can't allow a person or a vehicle to follow another person or a vehicle in without authorization. Everyone who enters must badge in and badge out.
What else do you do to control access at the facility?
Everyone is required to display a facility-issued ID card at all times. Employees and resident contractors are issued different colored badges. Color coding allows security to determine a person's level of access at the facility, something that's important for the site's access control policies.
Afternoon, sir. We'll need to inspect your vehicle.
We also conduct random physical inspections of vehicles and personnel entering and leaving the facility. It's important to ensure that unauthorized items such as weapons, explosives, or other contraband don't enter the facility. Likewise, we want to ensure that people don't remove unauthorized items, especially chemicals of interest, from the site. And of course, visitors are escorted at all times.
DHS has something called the National Terrorism Advisory System. Under the system, the government issues alerts about specific or a credible threat. What would you do if there's a specific threat?
We have a number of ways to increase security if we need to. For example, we may conduct more inspections, close some access gates, or have additional police patrols.
Thank you, Eric. Well, Chet, that's the inside scoop on some of the security measures at this facility. Now back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Julie. We'll be back after this.
You should be on the lookout for suspicious behavior that may signal a security threat. Some of the behaviors to watch out for are surveillance activities, such as taking unauthorized photos, especially around the perimeter. Asking probing questions. Be wary of anyone who asks questions such as, "What's the most dangerous chemical here?" Placing a package or box where it doesn't belong. You should be on the lookout for items located in unusual places, such as a box or backpack under a vessel or outside of a gate. Tampering with equipment. Make sure that the only people with access to equipment are authorized personnel. Abandoning vehicles. Keep an eye out for vehicles parked in unusual locations. Also, pay attention if a driver is picked up immediately after parking his or her vehicle or walks away from the facility instead of toward it. People may try to circumvent security by tailgating, loitering near the facility, pretending to be someone who needs to access the facility, such as a vendor doing a repair, using a fraudulent ID or someone else's ID, or trying to get into the facility without the correct paperwork. Now it's time for you to practice recognizing suspicious behavior. On screen, you can see pictures of 5 potential visitors to your facility.
Howdy, my name is George and I'm here to work on a faulty valve. Here's my work order.
I went off without my paperwork. Can I come into the plant?
What's the most dangerous chemical you use at the plant? Good morning. My son's interested in chemistry. I was wondering if I could go out and take a few pictures of the plant.
Yes, I'm here to see the plant manager, please.
Assuming that visitor number 1 has a legitimate ID and work order, he is not suspicious. He has a valid reason to be in the facility. Visitor number 2 is suspicious. You should not accept any deliveries to the facility that are not accompanied by a valid bill of lading or other paperwork. Visitor number 3 is suspicious. Unless there is a legitimate reason for a visitor to know what chemical is the most dangerous, this is information that should not be released. Visitor number 4 is suspicious. Taking unauthorized photos of the facility is not permitted. Visitor number 5 is not suspicious. Check with the plant manager to make sure that the visitor is expected.
And now a special segment of CFATS Confidential, focusing on how to recognize dangerous devices. First, the IED. An improvised explosive device, or IED, is a homemade bomb. IEDs have become increasingly sophisticated in recent years and are a preferred device for terrorists. IEDs may be concealed in a variety of different packaging, including vehicles, handbags, backpacks, pipes, or even printer cartridges. The IED container is an important component of the device because it is used to transport and deliver the IED without suspicion or detection. The container may also contribute to the damage by fragmenting when the explosion occurs. IEDs may be constructed using different types of chemicals and compounds. For example, ammonium nitrate and fuel oil can produce a powerful explosive. In most cases, an IED consists of a power supply, an initiator to start the explosive chain, the explosive charge itself, and a switch. One common type of IED is the vehicle-borne IED, the VB-IED, better known as a car bomb. Although these are frequently used overseas, they've also been used here, such as the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, the 1995 Oklahoma City Federal Building bombing, and the failed bombing attempt in New York's Times Square in 2010. If you find a suspicious package or item that you believe to be an IED, don't move or interfere with it in any way. Don't use a radio or cell phone in the immediate vicinity. Quickly move to a safe distance, prevent others from approaching the item, and report it immediately to appropriate facility personnel. No matter what type of IED is involved, the best protective measure against an explosion is distance. The following table illustrates the explosive capacity of several different types of IEDs and the minimum safe evacuation distance. Terrorists may also use firearms, which can be hidden in many places, such as vehicles or even staged outside of the facility. Handguns can be concealed in bulky or unseasonable clothing, bags, laptop cases, and boxes. If you suspect that someone is carrying a firearm inside of the facility, report it immediately to appropriate facility personnel. Finally, remember that some everyday devices may also pose a security risk. For example, you should be on the lookout for anyone using a camera phone at your facility, especially if they are trying to photograph facility access points or security equipment. We'll return in a moment.
Although it's possible that a terrorist attack could happen without warning, there are several indicators of terrorist activity that have historically preceded an attack. These indicators may occur over weeks, months, or even years. They are: 1. Target surveillance, to assess security resources, escape routes, and the strengths and weaknesses of the target. Surveillance may include the use of a camera or binoculars, note-taking, or drawing diagrams. 2. Elicitation, to gain more information about a target, either through open sources like the Internet or by asking questions of facility personnel. Attempts to obtain this information may be made in person, by email, or on the telephone. 3. Security testing, to assess weaknesses and vulnerabilities. This could include trespassing at the facility to assess the site's security response. 4. Acquiring supplies needed for an attack. This may include acquiring chemicals, explosives, weapons, uniforms, identification badges, or equipment. 5. Suspicious people who don't belong, such as people loitering around a facility. 6. Dry runs to practice before the attack in order to identify flaws and correct deficiencies. 7. Deployment. At this point, the terrorist coordinates all the final people and assets needed to execute the attack.
Welcome back. Finally, on this episode of CFATS Confidential, we have a report on what you should do if you witness a potential security incident. Remember, if you see anything suspicious or unusual, report it. Don't worry about whether it is a valid security concern. When in doubt, report. When reporting a potential security incident or suspicious behavior, it's important to include as much information as possible. Provide a detailed description of the person or vehicle involved. For persons, include details such as gender, height, race, hair color, size or build, and clothing. For vehicles, include details such as color, make, model, and year, license plate number, unusual markings or designs, or company logos. Also, be sure to give your location and the location of the suspicious activity. And that's all the time we have today. All of us at CFATS Confidential thank you for doing your part to keep this facility and community safe and secure.